Heath Perry here with LIVIN.GUIDE. We're going to begin with a nice gentle warm-up. So start twisting. Let's wake up that spine. Come into our posture and just feel like we're creating a little bit of space between each and every vertebrae. Next, we're going to shift into working from our head to our toes, starting with the neck, and we're going to do a little side to side, ear to shoulder, engaging the muscle on one side, stretching and relaxing the muscle on the other side. Then we'll flow into a little forward and back, exploring different angles, staying in a range and in the areas that feel good. If there's any pain or discomfort while you're doing this, back right out of it and try to avoid that. You're trying to find the movement that feels good. Let's roll the head. Again, you don't have to make a perfect circle. Make sure that this feels good. If you want to go back and forth a little bit, make sure you go both directions and that you're finding those sweet spots that feel like they want to open up and get a little extra movement in. Now let's flow into our shoulders, rolling the shoulders, and notice how the breath wants to start coming in. We're lifting our rib cage, diaphragm, and that expands the lungs. Let's work the other direction. So as you're doing this and as your breath is starting to come a little deeper, notice if you're holding any of your breath on the exhale or on the inhale, and see if you can start expanding that. Let's shuffle the shoulders, kind of massage those tight spots in our shoulders and neck. And then we're going to bring it up and hug the neck and release. Let's add the breath intention a little more. Bring it up with a big inhale and then hold. Exhale, release. Inhale up and hold. Exhale, release. Beautiful. Let's shimmy the shoulders out a little bit. Now round out and then roll yourself back up. Going back and forth, getting as much nice flexion and extension through that upper spine as possible. We're internally rotating our shoulders when we come around and down, opening it all up, bringing the shoulder blades together as we come up. Beautiful. Back to center, and let's do a little side to side. Feeling that torso kind of wake up and open up. Maybe even reach with the arms a little bit. Feeling that stretch all the way through from the side of the hips up through the lats, outside of the arms. Nice. Now we're going to go forward and back. And before we do that, we want to make sure we know how to engage our core. You're just going to draw the belly button in slightly. It's not as much as you possibly can, but just enough to feel supported as you bend forward. And especially when you hit that lower end range, pull in a little stronger and bring it up. When you go back, you're using that to keep yourself from going into hyperextension. So feel yourself engage at the bottom and the end range of each position as you go forward and back. Start exploring different angles. Maybe a little rotation as well. Again, only staying in a range that feels good. You don't want to strain your back at all with any of this warm-up. Just stay in those ranges that feel good. Let's work it into a nice circular pattern. And other direction. And flow into the hips. The hips go side to side like a nice pendulum swing. And forward and back. Big circles. And other direction. Now we're going to do a little more subtle version of that. So we're going to rock the hips. So we're not swinging it to the outside. We're actually dropping one side down while we hike the other side up. This really gets that movement in where the spine meets the pelvis. Good. Now forward and back. Also notice when you're doing this, if it's trying to thrust through or if it's not moving at all, just try to find a slow, smooth range and just get that control back in those muscles so they're not overreacting. And a little bit of a circle, kind of like a hula dance. Nice and smooth. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Just try to keep working and finding that flow and movement. Let's go the other direction. Good. And shake it all out for a moment. Let's bring our feet and knees together, come into a little quarter squat. Nice posture. Spread the toes so you create a little space between each toes, and then rock the knees side to side. Now we're going to drop down and then stand back up and squeeze these quadricep muscles fully. So we kind of draw the kneecaps in. Feel that engagement and then drop down. It's a great way to warm up your knees before you do any exercise. Helps lubricate the knees. Let's add a little circle with a squeeze in between each. And the other direction. Good. And then come into a little relaxed position, round out the back, and then slowly roll yourself up one vertebrae at a time, engaging that core to support. Roll it all the way up. Step the feet apart and roll the wrists. And one ankle. As I said before, we're just working through each of the joints, waking them up, see if there's any sensitive spots that we need to know about before we get into any kind of real workout. Let's do the other ankle. It's a great way to just start your morning each day. Now let's do both ankles. This is when we feel a little more warmed up and we can work into our happy dance. Beautiful. All right, step wide. Take it side to side. Now we're moving into feeling that nice stretch into the inner thighs, grounding the feet. You want to be wide enough to where you feel that nice little bit of stretch as you go side to side. Then we're going to come to the center, lift the chest, kind of support ourselves through our arms, hands just above the knees. Do a nice twist, and then we're going to sweep the whole torso down, around, and back up to center. And then twist the other way, sweep it down, around, back to center. Back and forth with the breath. Exhale down, inhale up. Good, back to side to side. Now you can either stay up here, you're going to lift the toe, rock the hips, you bring it into your hamstring side to side. Or you can take it lower, if that feels better for you. Again, staying in the range, in the depth that feels good for your body. Not trying to stress it at all right now. Good. Now let's snake the body up. And we're gonna step back and across. It's like a little capoeira move. You're just stepping back and across, feeling a little bit of a hip opener with this. Again, continuing to warm up all around the hips and the legs. And then we're going to step back and do a little twist, side to side. Back to center, come into a little bit of a quarter squat here, and let's do a little cat-cow movement. So it looks like this. You arch and you extend. Round it out, roll it up, back and forth. Round out, roll yourself up, and swing the arms across the front. Crisscrossing. Then we're going to come into a little qigong movement where we do a little vibration. One high, one low. Up on the shoulder. Side of the rib. And swing the arms low and then high. Start off slow and feel it out. If it feels good for the back, feel that momentum come through. Feel the energy flow right up through the arms. Use that energy and flow it up onto your toes. Up on your toes and hold. Now just balance up here. Even if you fall forward, just come right back up onto your toes. Keep trying. And let's flow over again. Back up, hold. One more time. Up and hold. Now drop yourself down, but keep your heels up. So we're low and we're still having to kind of balance. And then explore through your space to the front side, to the back side, up high, down low, other side. And bring it up, shake out the legs. It's always great to finish off with a little bit of a cool down. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to our hands and knees on the mat. And most of you have probably heard of the cat-cow where you arch and extend your back. We're going to go into a free motion cat-cow. So you're going to allow yourself to roll and explore more than just a flexion and extension of the spine. You're going to let your head and your neck and your shoulders, the middle spine and the pelvis all kind of free flow. And see if you can find those little areas that need a little extra stretch. Feel good to move into. Then we're going to turn the toes under, and you're going to rock yourself back to either a squat here or any squat. You can be all the way down here if that's what feels good to you. You just shift into that position, support through your forearms, and raise yourself up. Open up. And when you're doing it, you're not bringing your arm like so, where you're hyperextending the shoulder. You're actually just opening up with your back and your spine. See if you can get that nice opening and rotation. Let's do the other side. Then bring it down And if you need to support your back, you can hang onto your legs and just stretch over and sway the hips. If you don't have any lower back issues, you can even hang a little bit if that feels better. And then we're going to bring our hands above the knees, straighten the arms out, and lengthen that spine, open up the chest, keep the core engaged. So we come into flat back. And then we're going to sit back, raise the arms into chair pose, and then drive ourselves up. Let the arms fall to the sides, come forward, up, and dive down through the center line. And as we flow down, keep coming down, bring the arms up, and this time just float the hands down. We're just moving chi, building chi, all the way down, settle down, below the belly button into the lower dantian. Come back to our breath, feel into our bodies. And we'll take a little bit of that energy, bring it into our hands. We're going to just share it up with each other in the space to finish it out. Little dip and thanks for joining me. Namaste.